episode.
Hey, yo.
Yo. Of course, you know who this is. This is the trigger-happy chatterbox.
This is the world's greatest detective, 626.
Moving the mic as if I'm like a Jedi with power over here.
You are moving that with your hands. Do not lie to them.
I don't know, man. I was moving that with my dick. No, I'm kidding, guys. What's going on? Once again, we've got... It's a slow week, as me and Kyle were talking. Slow-ass week.
News is moving tortoise slow this week.
Good news is no more tooth pain.
Hey.
You know, from last episode, since it hasn't been posted, do not have any tooth pain. That was like the problem going into what was going on.
That's why John had to step away a couple times.
Yeah.
I had to swish around that salt water.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad that salt water's out of my system now. They did a root canal on my bottom teeth, and then they did 5 fillings in terms of the 5 teeth in the left. And when they were like, "We've got 5 teeth we got to work on," the first initial reaction was, "Fuck." Like, just sit down. But you know what was funny was, like, the doctor was like, "Hey, so I just saw your phone and I saw you were a cosplayer. So by any chance, can you hook me up with a Darth Vader suit?"
Bruh.
So, like, we were talking while he was going.
That dentist really asked you to hand him $5,000.
Yeah, he was like, "Do I have a copay? Like, would you pay us?" I was like, "Yeah, you do. It's like $1,000 for copay. And then it's like, you know, $4,000 for us working on the suit." He's like, can you make it out of like EVA foam? I'm like, "No, we're gonna make it out of like straight up 3D
No,
print."
it can't be EVA foam. Are you this man really thought, "Yo, I'm gonna make Darth Vader out of EVA." Get the fuck. No.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, you
Can
can't.
you disrespect my man Anakin Skywalker like that?
No. That's gotta be hard shelled. Like, try to stab it, you break your knife.
Yeah,
It's gotta be that. It's gotta be that.
Yeah, you gotta make leather parts. Got to be made out of leather.
Oh yeah.
That's probably why that suit's so expensive. I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine it doesn't come down to the pauldrons or the helmet or the chest box. It is literally all fabric work.
Oh yeah.
Because that stuff takes time, which is why Assassin's Creed cosplays scare the shit out of me.
Damn. I mean, yeah, I've seen the prices for them. They are...
Well, and the embroidery on those costumes, though, like...
Detail, yeah, dude.
Like, if you don't, like, screen print it and you go full embroidery, like, that costume is going to be thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to get the hood right and you don't want to look like a Funko Pop. So... I know, man. I'm sorry. I see it a lot, and I see some cosplayers get it right, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and then it hurts when you see them get it wrong, and you're like,
oh,
I know you were doing it for the love of the character,
yeah,
but my guy, it looks bad.
I'm like, you look like you're hiding a frisbee under there. I'm like, what? What is this? You look like you got like one of those old space helmets where it's just like a fishbowl flipped upside down.
Oh God, what the fuck? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're hitting it right on the nail with that one. Because I mean, we've been at so many cons where we've seen different Assassin's Creed cosplayers, and I think we saw a couple that did it.
The thing is, they're rare.
Yeah,
you don't see them very often. Like, it's not like RoboCop rare.
Yeah, it's not RoboCop.
It's not like you never see it, but you'll probably see 1 or 2 out of the whole convention. Yeah, and then that'll be it. It's like Thanos is another rare one. You don't see that very often. I feel like that's because a lot of people look at Thanos' size and they're like, nah.
Yeah, but we know one guy. And we're still waiting on Jacob to do it. But one guy. I mean, the guy is like mammoth.
That man had a deep voice off with the Kratos voice actor and almost won.
Yeah, I can see that. And I'm gonna ask him if you come to Florida and you do Thanos. The whole point of you and me with Deadpool and Thanos is you put me on your shoulders, right? And we do the comic scan where basically it's the Deadpool versus Thanos thing where he comes out and says, because they're both arguing over how they're gonna fight and dispute this. He was like, in a game of wits, no. In a game of checkers, no. In a fight, yeah, fuck. Because Thanos would do it. He'd just fucking obliterate him. But, knowing that he gave him invincibility or in this case, immortality because of him being with death, Deadpool's is going to be just like, nah.
I have a solution that could either fix or ruin Gotham City. You should give Batman an Infinity Gauntlet.
Joe Chill run.
You just see what he does with it.
I'd be the first fucker I could see him use that damn gauntlet on.
Just be like, snap, you don't exist, have fun.
Oh yeah, Jesus. But we've got quite a bit on the menu, at least from my side. So CEO weekend is going on today. I know Street Fighter 5, Guilty Gear, that stuff was going on with pools. Marvel and shit in terms of pools was going on yesterday, and I think we're gonna have the top 8, the top 16 for both of those games, if not all of them, go down today. So that's exciting for me because I mean, hey man, like it's good to see that both, you know, Marvel, which is a game that came out in 2011, still living, still kicking, and just, you know, even games that came out like 2-3 years ago. I mean, like we're talking like anything from Dragon Ball Fighters to, you know, recent games like Guilty Gear and KOF. You know, KOF being like, you know, Terry Bogard from, you know, because I know people were like, what's KOF? And then I mentioned Terry. They're like, oh shit, that's him. Like, yeah, that's his whole franchise guy. So, you know, it's just good to hear that like the tournament scene is going well. Obviously, before CEO was Combo Breaker, and I got caught up. I'm just gonna say like combo breakers. I love you for that.
You're welcome.
I love you for that.
I hope that shows up well on mic.
Like, I'm gonna say it, man. Like, even if I didn't even watch all of the results of Combo Breaker, but then watch videos of Ray, that man is fucking nasty. Let me give you an idea of what this man is capable of fucking doing. So he plays Sentinel, Doom, and sometimes he plays Ryu. That's like he plays Ryu, and like whenever I watch him play Ryu, he makes Ryu look like fucking Nova. That's how fast he makes Ryu. Like I said it a couple times towards Matt, and I'll say it to you. He makes Ryu look fast. I don't want to play his Ryu at all. Like he's scary with Ryu. In terms of like mid-screen and like, you know, corner mix-ups, he's scary with and it's not even just Ryu, it's Ryu with like drones or Ryu with like magnetic destructor.
Right.
It's scary when you have those type of things and then Ryu's moving even faster than you normally would see him.
Ryu with foot dive. I'm sorry.
No, it's exactly what it is though. Like Ray's that, but then when Ray does Doom Sentinel, this man does full screen confirms. And then just lands them, and I'm like, Ray's the best there is in Marvel. Like that's just what it is, what it comes down to, and he deserves it. Funny enough, last thing about like Street Fighter 6, because we have burned that fucking game out with the news that have come out. Some motherfuckers are actually complaining about Ryu's theme in the game. Yes. So Ryu's theme is not the traditional theme you have heard from 2 to like maybe 4 to 5. No, it's a brand new theme. It's a brand new everything. And people are actually complaining about the theme. And I said, you motherfuckers need to shut up because this is a game that needs its own identity.
Yeah.
It does. The days of just carrying over. This is a game, see, most people, if they're not following the actual lore of things, Third Strike was the last game in the chronological order here. This game is going, 5 to 10 years after the events of Third Strike? So it's a whole different character because he's gone through a lot. So Ryu's going to be a whole different person. So in my opinion, the theme should match where Ryu is in his life. You know, I get it. Everyone's so comfortable over the traditional Ryu theme, but if we're going to have a brand new game and a brand new identity, certain things are going to have to change. And I know change is scary with people.
Right.
But in order for this game to thrive on its own, with no attachments to 2, with no attachments to 3, with no attachments to 4, and no attachments to 5.
Please.
Just for the love of God, keep that game away from this one. Then you have to. You know, like Chun-Li's theme came out, Luke's theme came out, Ryu's theme came out, you know, and all these characters look amazing. Like I can't even believe it. This is the second biggest, you know, event where they proved me wrong. I mean, Chris Evans proved me wrong being Captain America a long time ago, but Capcom has proved me wrong. They're presenting a quality product, they're presenting great mechanics, and they're presenting good characters. It's been a long fucking time since they've done that. Like, since I was in fucking high school. Continue to do it.
But as with most games, hold your pre-orders.
Yeah, hold your pre-orders
because you don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah.
See, that's why I'm happy that you told me that, because you're like, I know you're happy, John, but let's get into it.
You gotta temper it.
Yeah, we have to temper it. Bit. How do you feel about? I know that like when it comes down to it, like when we and our friendship has grown, you know, obviously you got into fighting games a little bit, kind of saw exactly how I approach it. With this new era, because hell, that's what Matt and me have called it, this new era, how do you feel about the stuff you saw with 6 going into it from maybe in the middle, because I feel like you see the competitive aspect of what I talk about, and then the casual perspective that like as a kid you see it. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think it's a good move. I mean, with fighting games, it's like you can't make one too similar to the other ones. Otherwise, you know, it kind of loses its personalization, like you were saying. Mm-hmm. And Street Fighter 6 seems to be bringing, you know, its own style, its own spin on the characters. You know, I think you were saying that it was changing some of the movesets so that you had answers to shit. It looks like a really exciting era for Street Fighter fans after they were disappointed a little bit by 5. And, you know, I've always held the view that if you want fighting games to be, you know, held sacrosanct in the competitive space, you need a competitive model inside your game. Like, you know, people need to be able to parry. They need to be able to have rebuttals to all these certain things. Like I don't think there can ever be, you know what I think like the secret to a good fighting game is?
What is it?
There can never be a move that you cannot counter.
Okay.
Like,
that makes sense, yeah.
Like, to keep the game interesting, you always have to, it's just about giving the players the tools and saying, hey, here's how you do X, Y, Z. But the trick of the fighting game is it's up to you to employ those moves the best way you know how.
Right.
To achieve victory.
Right.
So it's like giving somebody like a move that's like, oh, this just breaks through anything, or giving somebody a game that's like, yeah, man, you just press one button and then you're good. Infinite.
Yeah, Jesus.
Is a good way to ensure that your game dies a very quick, painful death and is not seen in the FGC community ever.
Right. I'll definitely say that, like, I watched Max's stream the other day, and he was talking about how, you know, they're going for, the devs are really going for, you know, this high risk, high reward kind of game. And granted, I think that, like, in the casual perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to tell you this right now. 9 times out of 10, you will probably go with the safe bet, and you will go with what works instead of making that risk. So the following moves are really not going to be played as much. Like, granted, yes, I would tell you parries would be something that you would play in, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not thinking about a parry in, like, you know, jump incomings. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of anti-airs because that's frontal lobe shit. You know, I should have that in a shirt, like frontal lobe tactics.
That's what I'm saying is like answers to something that your opponent does. There should always be that.
Yeah, I think week 1, you know, we're gonna have what you're saying here, where we're gonna be looking at various answers for things that, you know, we're gonna be like, oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Like, this is the first game where you don't feel like it's fucking handicapped. Because I know that, like, you know, with certain people, you know, if they play Marvel, the very first thing they'll tell me is it's a one touch of death. Like, John, because of your skill level and because of my skill level, I feel like I'm handicapped because I can't really do anything. I'm up from the ground and there's nothing I can do. Versus if you were to play like 6 or like Third Strike or something, there are answers to things like that. The only difference with something like with 6 is that I don't think we're gonna lean, like, the prediction for me is that parry will not be the answer. Honestly, I'm going to tell you the rebuttal to a lot of things that I'm thinking we're going to be seeing here is like either focus attacks because there's certain levels of invincibility for it, or going into it knowing what you're going to be doing in said situations that is called the safe bet. That would be your answer for the first 10 seconds of the match. What's the safe bet to really ensure yourself the offense going forward.
Right. And like I just think that, you know, games like Street Fighter and like Mortal Kombat and Injustice are very well suited to a neutral game.
Yeah.
And you might disagree, I don't know, but like I think Ultimate Marvel 3 is not very well suited to a neutral game, and it's more about, do you have the rhythm in combo form or do you not? And I think that's how you see a lot of really competitive players play, is it's like they'll play neutral at the beginning to kind of figure out what's going to happen. And then as soon as they feel like they have their opponent's skill set down, it's like, oh, okay, I can just use this particular set of moves and that'll bring me to the win.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. I don't disagree, because I mean, if you want to bring a game that, if you don't have a neutral game for this game, you're fucked. Third Strike. Mm-hmm. I talk about Third Strike a lot. If I had to compare it to a board game, it's chess.
Right.
Because really, honestly, I'm not caring if you have combos. I'm caring about, what are you going to do when a guy mid-screen is on wake up? What are you going to do? Are you going to set... grab him off of wake up? Are you going to do, you know, overhead? Which overhead, that in its entirety is very risky,
and that's why I think that game's so popular in the competitive scene, is because, you know, it keeps you tense. Like, you never really know what your opponent's going to do. And then from my perspective, it's like, you know, Marvel is kind of one of those one touch of death games where it's like, yeah, man, like, you know, I'm going to launch you into the air. I'm going to smack you around a little bit up there. I'm going to smack you back down to the ground. You're going to bounce, and then I'm going to do the same shit again, and then I'm going to do super. Yeah. GG's. Just like...
And also, keep in mind, guys, also, we've had Matt over the house while, like, Kyle was here, so he got to see a little bit of a taste of the competitive scene where me and Matt were playing. And you saw it. Like, it's a different story because Matt is on the same level as me.
It's just madness, bro.
It is. And when it comes down to it, when you have two people of the same skill level, what it becomes is 20 seconds neutral game.
Yep.
And then the rest of it becomes this idea where it's just like, you know, especially when you already feel like you're at a detriment. Like, I'll tell you right now, I've told Matt, I've told Tran, I've told everybody, when your man literally has this, you know, Kabuki fucking Hadoken that's supposed to get me somewhere versus Beam Super, like what he had with Doom, or, you know, Virgil's Rapid Slash, you feel like you're at a detriment, but it becomes where it's a matter of not only mastering and learning your characters and knowing what's good, what's not, what works versus what doesn't work. Not what should, because I fucking hate that word.
Yeah.
Oh my, if someone says, oh, this should work, you're probably going to get choked out by me. I don't care.
It's like, have you tested it against the mechanics of the game yet?
Right.
Because,
you know,
you can theorize all you want, but unless the mechanics actually work that way, you know?
Yeah. It aggravates me when I hear that, but for something like with Third Strike, and hopefully for 6 for you, is that this becomes a game where what you know out of your character ends up happening, and you're able to do it in a way where there's no should, there's it worked, it happened, this happened, I made right decision, I win.
Depending on what we see out of 6, that might be my jump on point.
And that would be awesome too, because I mean, the first year, I'm going to be arrogant. You're going to get your ass kicked.
I know.
John's going to be a little arrogant, but I hope that's going to be the diving point, being like, all right, I'm going to shut this little ass nigga up.
But part of that also is if we both get it at the same time, it's kind of an even playing field trying to figure out what the mechanics are.
It will be, because the game is going to be designed in a way where
until you devote your life to it, and until you devote your life to it, and then you stomp me.
Don't do that. don't tell me to do, because you know me. Once the game is in my hands, I'm probably going to be like just 24/7, 365 learning. I'm already looking at film footage of like the game, and I'm already seeing little bits and pieces of things that are just alarming to me in a good way, because I'm like, this is stuff that I've been asking for. You guys are giving it to me.
There's an exclamation point over John's head.
Oh yeah, like Metal Gear Solid.
No, I see a lot of Ultimate Marvel fights go down kind of like DBZ fights, where they're like playing neutral in the beginning, and then once they go into it, it's just a lot of shit. It's just a blur of limbs. Like,
oh yeah. The only time where it becomes so out of the ordinary is like, for example, if I play like something like Virgil, where my man's Helmbreaker literally can shut the whole thing down in terms of the offense.
Depends on the matchup for sure.
Yeah, it really does. Now, if it's like one of those things where I'm aware of such things and I get to a point where I'm like, I see it coming and I'm going to respond in a way where it keeps me safe, which again, this is why I say the safe bet, which I think a lot of competitors are going to find themselves in this game for. They're not going to find themselves in an idea where, dash cancel. You might see dash cancel every once in a blue moon. You might see focus attack a little bit more than parries and dash cancels. But ultimately, just wrapping things up, you're going to be seeing the safe bet more so than parries because you can hold parries in this game.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Are you going to hold parries with the idea that like someone's going to find a way to get you to use parries and then find a way to actually hit you afterwards? So that's one thing I was thinking of when watching some of this footage. It's not like parry off a click off your analog stick, because that was Third Strike. You were able to do a little click of the analog stick forward, and then you were able to respond with, I don't know, down, medium, punch, and a fucking super. This is you're holding the button. So it's a little different than you just a little click off the analog sticks. I'm wondering how that's going to work in the conjunction of the competitive scene. I really am.
Yeah.
So what you got, dude? Because I know I got questions, but I want to get.
So I kind of want to stay in the same, video game space. News has been pretty slow as far as video games are concerned. But if you guys play Overwatch, Overwatch 2 is coming out. And I've never heard of this before, but it's going to replace 1. Like 1 is going to be unplayable. Like 1 is basically going to be disabled when 2 comes out.
Huh?
Yeah, weird, right? I think the way they framed it was that 2 is essentially like a really aggressive expansion of 1. So like I don't think they're changing. And I haven't done a lot of research into what is different between 2 and 1. So full disclosure there. But I think part of the reason they feel comfortable shutting 1 down is because they think people are going to like 2 enough that 1 is just never going to be gone back to. It's kind of like what happened with Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1.
Okay, gotcha.
Where, except they're actually just completely discontinuing Overwatch 1. Like, it's not like they're not supporting it anymore. They're just moving that support to 2 and cutting off 1.
Okay.
And then you're never going to be able to play 1 again. Overwatch is just going to become Overwatch 2.
Okay, that makes sense. Even though, I mean, if the game doesn't go well, I can imagine people want to go back to the original.
Yeah. But yeah. That's a drawback, is that, at that point you're stuck with Overwatch 2, and if people don't like it, the developers are going to have a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. Kind of in the same vein of video games, but not really. I want to talk about a video game movie. I watched Uncharted last night. I see the look of apprehension.
How was it?
Like a lot of video game movies these days, okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but it was okay. I think part of what frustrated me about it is I was expecting something like Assassin's Creed, where it led into the video game story.
Okay.
That's not what happened. They kind of set it within its own continuity so they can do their own thing with it. Like, I don't know if you've played Uncharted, right? So
I have.
I think they kind of retconned the way Drake met Sully. Because in the beginning, spoiler talk, Drake is working at like this bar, and the way he kind of makes his living by the bar is not only bartending, but he's also stealing shit off of rich people. Yeah. Like at one point, there's this rich girl that he runs into, and he's kind of chatting her up a little bit, and then when he goes to like refill her drink, he steals her bracelet. Like he just lifts it, and she doesn't even notice. Okay. The characterizations were good. I think Mark Wahlberg could have done a little better. Okay. But he kind of played like young, greedy Sully really well. Mm-hmm. I liked Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake more than I thought I was gonna.
Okay.
You know, I tried to kind of like set aside that's Spider-Man. Like I had to I had to push that to the back of my head and just try to watch it as if he were the character.
Right.
And he was funny. He was funny. Like they kind of retained that Nathan Drake humor that really humanizes like an action character.
Right.
Chloe was in the movie.
Okay.
Which I didn't see coming. But other than that, it was just kind of standard Uncharted fare. Like, you know, lost treasure, go find the treasure. Treasure's already being hunted by like egomaniacal, super rich people with an army. And like, they did the plane scene from Uncharted 3, which was fun.
That I couldn't help myself spoiling on that one.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Nolan North was in it.
Yes.
He got a cameo, which was nice to see. I was like, hell yeah. Like, Caitlin was watching it with me, and she thought it was great because she hadn't played the games, and I was still kind of like middling on it. And I saw Nolan North, and I was like, yes. Yeah. Like, you had to get the OG in there. But, I mean, what else? Oh, like, so you know how a lot of Uncharted games have like a supernatural twist at the end? So this movie didn't have that. This movie was just like your standard like treasure hunter fare. Sam was a big point in the movie though.
Okay.
Like him and Sully were hunting down this treasure together, and then Sully kind of like left Sam for dead at one point, and then went and hunted Nathan Drake down. And that was like one of the points of contention between Nate and Sully during the movie. They set it up for a sequel, so could be getting a second one out of that.
Right.
I think wrapping it up, it was fun.
Okay,
it was fun.
It was a fun flick.
It was fun.
Okay.
It was fun. I couldn't, you know, if you don't take it seriously as like, you know, adding to the canon Uncharted universe, it was just fun.
Okay. What would you rate it in terms of out of 10?
Probably a 7.
Okay.
Probably a 7. You know, I didn't go crazy over it or anything. I kind of cheesed a little bit when they towards the end, they had him put on the shoulder holster that he wears, and they were playing like a remix of the original game theme. Yeah. And I was like, there was some stuff that didn't make any fucking sense, like physically, like physics wise. Like they were hunting down this treasure that was contained within the ships that Ferdinand Magellan was sailing around the world in, and they put the bad guys, quote unquote, put nets under these ships and like lifted them up out of this like grotto that they were hidden in, and I was like, them bitches would fall apart so fast. I was like, they're rotted together and all this shit. Like, you can't bullshit me. This wouldn't work. But like, it was a cool enough set piece that I was like, I wish this was in a game. Like, I wish they had done this in the game, because Sully and Drake were on one of the ships that were being lifted in the air, and they kind of had like an impromptu midair fucking pirate ship battle. Okay, that's and I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
That it fit as like one of the big set pieces that Uncharted likes to do, where towards the end they're like, yo, look at this thing, like you know, kind of like the train sequence in Uncharted 2. Yep. The German U-boat sequence in Uncharted 1, and then the, you know, obviously the plane fight in Uncharted 3.
Oh yeah.
And fuck, it was just, you know, it felt like a pseudo cousin to Uncharted 4 a little bit.
Okay. I'm right there with you. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, speaking of which, PlayStation Studios, where the fuck is my Uncharted anthology on PC?
No.
You gotta launch it.
No. Because I'm still waiting for Sony and Naughty Dog to give me fucking Jak 4. Okay? When they give you Jak 4, they can give you as many fucking Uncharted games as they possibly can.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna need 5, Chief. I'm sorry.
I need Jak 4, okay? That game, childhood. How in the fuck? I want you to try to go with me with this one. How in the fuck are you not gonna give me Jack 4 with the kabuki fucking weapons that this man has? This man has a weapon called the Peacemaker. Okay? Not Pacemaker, because I'm not old, but Peacemaker. Do you really want to taste it? Yo, it might as well have just like played every legit time he fires the fucking weapon. He shoots like this fucking magnetic wave that's like a homing missile, and it's so goofy. It'll make a fucking wave and then hit your ass, and then just electricity hits your fucking body. Sony, stop fucking with me. Just give me Jack 4.
Naughty Dog's a big enough studio.
Like choke Naughty Dog in the throat. Stop making this Last of Us shit. Okay? Especially when you have, a Gamergate as homing around in the background, because we know that happened.
You've got Uncharted. You just make a new Uncharted, and then you can make Jack 4 on the side too.
Fuck that. That's the mainstay game.
Nah, dude. That town is big enough for the two of them. Like,
no, when Jack 4 comes out, its balls will be bigger than every single one of them. The only game that actually beats it is Naughty Dog's first creation, being like Crash Bandicoot 5. Because that was the first one back in 95.
Did you play Uncharted 4?
I didn't. I watched like walkthroughs because I wanted to see it.
You gotta play 4. It's good.
I gotta play 4?
You gotta play 4.
Okay, well now that I have this kick-ass... No, it's a Sony exclusive.
It's not on PC yet. It's coming. It's coming to Steam.
Okay.
It's coming to Steam along with Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man I'm playing first.
I'm gonna download Spider-Man so fast.
Yeah. Because imagine the freaking mods they're gonna come out with this game.
What? Yeah, I know. They're already starting. Like, Like, somebody already crafted, like, the TASM 2 suit. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna put that in there.
Yeah, dude.
Like, yeah, the mods, fucking Naked Spider-Man is coming out of that mod. I know somebody's gonna make that.
Yo, what's gonna happen? Swinging dicks.
New meeting to helicopter day.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but no. You imagine, like, that's like, so not only is it going to be, the Spider-Man that we got on PS4. It's going to be the remastered version.
Yeah.
So as hard as your PC can run it, that's how fast it's going to run. And you're going to be able to do ray tracing and all that other stuff.
Yo, let's fucking go. I hope somebody decides they want to take the city landscape. I hope somebody is creative, because, we just saw a lot of creativity from everyone. By the way, little side note on Marvel 3, Iceman is now a playable character. I just saw the fucking... I just showed Kyle the video footage of it. I'm downloading that motherfucker after this fucking broadcast. But I hope somebody really takes the landscape world. Imagine this with me. The landscape world of Spider-Man. And because I hate the fucking Deadpool game, it's in terms of like the humor, it was good, but it's all Daniel Way shit. And they put fucking Deadpool in there instead. Hear me out. Imagine that world of Spider-Man with Deadpool and his fucking moped around the fucking city, just shooting people.
In a Deadpool Spider-Man game.
Yo, let's go.
You imagine?
I'm not going to work. I'm painting the city with blood, bro. Like, that's what's gonna happen. So, speaking of painting blood, The Boys.
Oh no.
Okay, so me and the Rushinators saw episode 6, and I'm going to tell you, they were this close from killing Homelander. So context, the show has now shown us that there is temporary V now in this entire franchise, where anyone who wants to have superpowers, it's only for 24 hours. Afterwards, there is a huge recoil of vomit and health issues. So Billy Butcher has like fucking Cyclops eyes. Okay. Huey is Nightcrawler, basically. He can just fucking teleport. Mother's Milk has not had it because he's not in the right place. For context, and I don't mean to spoil it because I know Kyle hasn't seen these episodes yet, but MM has some huge beef with Soulja Boy, which of course is Jensen Ackles' character. Soulja Boy, here it goes, killed his family when he was a kid.
Ooh.
Like, murdered them and everything, and the man has PTSD over Soulja Boy. So we get to one of the biggest episodes ever. And the episode is to the point where once the episode starts, it gives you a huge disclaimer that bestiality and all types of other shit are not really what they represent. So going into this episode, you're gonna see some shit that's gonna fuck you up.
Well, they gotta give you that kind of disclaimer. You gotta be like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You're gonna get fucked up here. So they go into this, they start, what was it? Soulja Boy now starts looking for his former team from like the 30s and 40s. He starts looking for his former team. Mm. By the way, Black Noir, which you know from the 7, used to be on that team a long time ago. So the episode shows that the Deep, which is that goofy Aquaman lookalike, has video footage of Soulja Boy from the last episode. And Homelander freaks the fuck out because he just found somebody who may be as strong as him. We've never seen Homelander freak out before. He's like, I got this. No, he's freaking the shit out. He's like, oh shit, this guy's alive. What the fuck is he gonna do? So it gets down to the point where they're like, listen, he's gonna be going after all his former comrades and he's gonna fucking kill them. One by one, he's gonna cut them off. He already did so with his love interest when they found out that his love interest was the very one who put him in the fucking pod that basically was like Captain America's story, but a whole lot darker. More like Winter Soldier, right? Now they're looking for these twins that have like these electricity powers, and then they're like, oh wait, we just go back to Soulja Boy's old playground, which Soulja Boy came out with this concept for heroes called, get ready for it, Herogasm. So it's this little hut, this little like hangout pad where all the B, C-list superheroes go into. They fucking have sex. And when you get into, like, here's the thing, it's Butcher, it's Soulja Boy, and it's Huey. Huey's like, I don't want you to kill everybody, because Soulja Boy has like this nuclear reacting power where if he hits you with it and you have superpowers, you're cut off permanently from the powers. Which is like, holy shit, because you'd think Homelander's been a cunt this whole time. Just aim the fucking sun, which of course is Soulja Boy. Dude, problem solved, right? Ooh, we're getting to that. So Huey's like, all right, dude, let me go in there. I don't want you killing everybody. I want you to at least get Homelander, and then we can get the fuck out. So Huey, he goes in there, fucking Nightcrawler, because he has the temporary V, just like Butcher does. He goes in there, and my man has like this tendency whenever he fucking teleports, he's fucking naked. So he fits right the fuck in with everybody else, because you're seeing people getting fucked from the ass. There's a guy with Iceman powers that did an Alaskan pipeline. He fucking made an ice dick and shoved it up the girl's ass.
What?
Yeah. So then Huey's girlfriend, Starlight, you know, the goofy Supergirl from like freaking Kansas, she shows up just because she wants to go after Soulja Boy. The whole conflict is we could use Soulja Boy to go after Homelander. That's Huey, that's Butcher, and that's even Soulja Boy. And he doesn't even know who Homelander is. They just tell him he's a fucking problem. And then there's Mother's Milk and Starlight being like, Soulja Boy is a problem. What do you think's gonna happen when he just kills Homelander? Now Soulja Boy is a new Homelander. So you have two different groups going into the same fucking small ass hut.
And Butcher's like, no, but it's better though.
Like, yeah, that's basically what it is, right? Like he's telling Mother's Milk that we could do this, and Mother's Milk's like, there's a line and you're crossing it. Mm-hmm. Like he's saying that because, and he's also going through again his PTSD of what happened to his family. So Annie, Starlight, she shows up, and it gets to the point where she sees Huey naked. And it's to the point where, and I'm sure you've seen the first episode of The Boys,
yeah,
where Huey loses his girlfriend thanks to A-Train.
Yeah.
Well, Huey's got superpowers now. And A-Train walks in there. And so he's just like, hey, you never apologized to me for that. He's, what do you mean? Now, just to throw a little side note, not to, deviate from what currently is happening, A-Train, due to a storyline that they put in for season 3, his brother, which you see in the earlier seasons, is upset because there's another hero that's running around. I think it's called Blue Hawk or whatever the fuck it is. He's patrolling the city, but what the show is really perpetuating is the whole BLM Black Lives Matter movement. So this guy is going against people doing criminal acts, but what's really going on is he's targeting African Americans. And A-Train's like, nah, dude, I don't like that. Well, they had some kind of thing earlier in the season where Blue Hawk was talking to, like a youth group. And what ended up happening was his powers went off and he injured his brother. So A-Train was feeling a certain type of way about it. So he's like, damn, I know what it feels like to see people get hurt and it's people I care about. So back to Huey and A-Train. A-Train's like, I'm sorry, I know what it feels like, blah, blah, blah. Huey is not having it. My man just goes and levels him. And so A-Train's like, wait a minute, this man punched me and it actually hurt. How the fuck is that even possible? But then like Starlight stops the whole thing from going on. She's like, don't, go home. Go home with your dumb ass. But here's the thing, before A-Train goes home, he finds Blue Hawk. And not only that, he takes Blue Hawk and does some Flash Injustice 2 type shit where he grabs him, he puts him on the ground and makes his skin with the friction of the ground just cut all of his skin off. So now you're seeing Blue Hawk dead, but here's the problem that I had. A-Train can't be doing his powers anymore because he has a heart palpitation. So the more of him doing it, the more his heart is just skyrocketing in terms of heart rate. He killed himself as a result. So his heart stopped. So now A-Train and Blue Hawk are dead. So you're thinking to yourself, all right, what happens here with Soulja Boy? Soulja Boy now goes to the point where he sees the twins, the two people I was talking about. And with his reactor powers, fucking fries them in a crisp. But not only that, since it's not contained or controlled, he kills everybody in that building. So now you have 19, 20 other heroes that are dead. Mind you, the Deep was there, and this is where the bestiality thing comes, and I hate saying this. This man was fucking an octopus.
I feel like they saw the Snyder Cut joke about Aquaman, and they were like, yo, let's make the Deep do that.
Yeah. Like Annie goes like in the room where he's at, he turns around and the octopus is right on his dick.
Bruh.
So the Deep is fine out of this, but every other person that was around Soulja Boy is dead. Butcher and Mother's Milk were fighting in the background because Mother's Milk knows, Butcher, you've crossed too many paths now. You have powers now, and not only that, you're using somebody with powers to go against Homelander, and he's calling Butcher a hypocrite. How do you get the chance to go at Homelander, but I can't get the chance to go after Soulja Boy? Mm-hmm. And the two of them are fighting, but Mother's Milk has he there's no contest now,
right?
Because Butcher has powers. So it's to the point where the nuclear reaction powers that Soulja Boy like had knocked the both of them towards the wall. Soulja Boy pretty much like knocked Mother's Milk into oblivion. Like he's not on the scene anymore. Well, now the fight comes in picture. Soulja Boy bumps into Homelander, and you know what the fuck's gonna happen here. So the two of them fight, and Homelander's getting rocked for the first time in 3 seasons. This man's getting rocked. Like, the both of them are on an even playing field. But then Homelander's like, you really thought you had a chance here. And Butcher steps up. And then Cyclops hits him with his laser vision. And now Homelander's like, the fuck? This man has powers now. The both of them are going head to head with each other. And it's to the point where the whole thing is to contain Homelander, so we take his powers away. So it's Butcher, it's Soulja Boy that holds him. And then Huey shows up, naked fucking Huey shows up, teleports him, and grabs Homelander. And they're all pinning him to the ground while Soulja Boy is ready to charge up. At the last second, Homelander flies away. Now, what this episode told me was so many lines were crossed. Huey and Starlight were a thing, and now they're probably not a fucking thing, because he has this complex where he hates being saved by his girlfriend. And the whole idea is he's so like, I want to save my girlfriend. But she's like, was it really the drugs that fucked you up? Or was it really your mindset of feeling inferior to me fucking you up? So now that whole thing is kaputs. And so the very final scene of it is she goes on Instagram and she basically leaks the whole thing. I quit. Homelander's an asshole. Soulja Boy is alive. And keep in mind, remember, she's under contract with Vought. And she's saying all of this. And the episode ends. And me and Rushinator were like, holy shit, like this, she's gonna get killed. If she doesn't, I'm like, what the fuck? Huey and Starlight are done. Mother Smoke is probably gonna still have PTSD. And Black Noir actually ran away because he knows how strong Soulja Boy is. When you know motherfucking Black Noir takes out his fucking inhibitor chip and fucking runs for the hills, you know some shit's going down. Because he's the one that stays in anyways.
Yeah.
What a fucking episode, dude. Oh my fucking God.
You know what else was a fucking episode?
Kenobi. We're gonna get a bro fist because that episode was fire. How'd you feel about it?
I loved it. I loved all the Kenobi and Vader stuff. I felt like all the Reva stuff was kind of missing for me. But like, I also feel like Inquisitors are there to get like their ass handed to them by whatever Jedi is there. Like, you know, in Rebels it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So like, they're kind of meant to be ineffectual in that way. But you know, I didn't really feel like she accomplished a whole lot outside of like trying to kill Vader in 5, and I was like, well, okay, like whatever, you know. It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story, but I did not enjoy it as much as what was going on, you know, in the foreground.
Yeah, buddy.
And the fact that we got kind of, you know, like a mirror version of what happened with Ahsoka and Vader in Rebels was
yeah,
nice. Like, Vader has only showed his face underneath that helmet 3 times in canon, and every time it's horrifying.
Yeah, and they save it for a really important aspect. And when you see it, you're just like, you're salivating at the bit because you want more.
Yeah.
And this fight, choreograph-wise, choreography was incredible. I actually liked, you know me, dude. I'm picky as fuck when it comes to fight scenes because I want to be able to see every aspect of it. Bro, this was no exception.
Really felt like episode 3 part 2.
It really did.
With all the, how the lightsabers were working. And
yeah.
I really like the way they're doing lightsabers now. It's an emphasis on lightsaber. Like, it casts light.
Yeah.
And I liked that in that shot, they were essentially using, you know, the lightsabers as the only source of light in the shots.
Right.
And it was just nice. Like, the direction they got on that was clean. I also like the touch when Vader starts slipping back into Vader out of Anakin. The red lightsaber like takes over. That was crisp.
That was crisp.
The makeup work on that was really good. The sound effects on that were really good. I was saying earlier off the show that whoever did the mixing between James Earl Jones and Hayden Christensen needs a fucking raise, bro.
They really do, because it was a nice touch of like the two personalities clashing.
Yeah,
it was a nice clash of the two.
Yeah, that twisted look he gave Kenobi, where he was just like, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did," and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah. And off the show, what did I say? That like everything in A New Hope hits different now. Because when you see it, you're just thinking to yourself, this fight happened, and it hurts Obi-Wan to say any of that stuff now.
Talk about the music too. Like, yeah, the music didn't feel particularly Star Wars to me, but it made that scene emotional.
It did. The impact, yeah.
You know, it was you know, sad and melancholy when it needed to be. And then once Vader slipped in, you kind of got that ominous tone, and you were like, "Oh, like."
Yeah, dude.
We also got to see my man Kenobi go God mode.
Dude, the fact that and I think this is the one thing that many people will not talk about, because I know it was so mixed in terms of this show. Mind you, did I give it an 8? I gave it a 7.5 in terms of the whole series. Because I had my little gripes with the show, but at the same time, fights like this rose this whole fucking score. You can't ignore this. But the one thing I will give this show is that it was a nice metamorphosis from Ben Kenobi, the identity, the character, to Obi-Wan, the one we know from like the prequels, where I mean, this dude, he knows his shit when it comes down to it. Like when it comes down to, you know, fighting and wisdom and philosophy and ideology, you get that from something like Obi-Wan, you know?
I think it is one of the best bridges between 3 and 4 that we've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed.
And when I saw that particularly that scene, I'm addicted to, where, you know, you get that Anakin Skywalker within the Vader suit. That was a very emotional scene, and also incredibly well done. And like that made the whole episode worth it for me, honestly. Just, you know, there wasn't a lot of dialogue there, but what dialogue they had wasn't wasted.
Yeah, it was not wasted at all.
And that whole series definitely makes episode 4 hit a little different now.
Yeah, it really does. And we also got a surprise at the very end. And I was telling Mom about why that is, but
we got Liam Neeson's back.
Oh yeah, that made me flip. I was like, there's very little instances within shows that make me jump out of the critic that you and I are, to being what we remember as kids. That was one of those scenes where I was just like, remove John 30 years from now, going back to what he was. Yeah.
Did you see them asking Liam Neeson if he was in this show? And that slick motherfucker was just like, no, I'm not.
He pulled the Patrick Stewart.
He was just like, I'm not in that show. I'd like to be. And I was like, what?
He pulled the Patrick Stewart.
Looking like they pulled you straight out of episode 1, bro. Like straight out of the 90s.
Yeah, dude. There was no difference from 1 to now. It was
nuts.
It was incredible.
Like, you know, whatever little gripes you have with the show is still a great addition to Star Wars, and that's what I give a shit about.
Oh yeah, the gripes I had, I think overall, I think it was, and I'll get into it. There was little instances where I felt there was tug and pull from different shows that we've already seen, and what I was getting comprehension wise to Kenobi, it was going to be its own gig. There was not going to be any give and takes from different things. Like if you were to copy and paste Kenobi with Din Djarin and Leia for Grogu, it would have made sense to me. Having said that doesn't mean that I didn't sit there and think, oh shit, we're getting Alderaan. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was a 7.5. It's
cool to see Alderaan in like live action.
Yeah, we've never seen that. At least I mean, I don't recall or remember that.
We saw a snippet of it in episode 3 when Leia was being sent to live with the Organas.
Oh yeah, that's
but that was it.
Yeah. So like those are the tiny gripes I got, along with some of the pacing. I feel like in other episodes, at the same time, it's not like the end of the episode or other things did not make up for such things. It's not like Halo where I'm like, why the fuck did you do this?
Yeah, no. And whenever Vader's on screen, you're just like
yeah, this is one of the elements that I'm looking forward to. When you hear Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know Vader's got to be in there.
I love that moment when Obi-Wan tried to bury Vader under that rock and Vader caught it and he was like, your strength has returned. And I was like, only James Earl Jones speaks that way.
Yeah, buddy. That was some shit, man. But
then you set up that conflict at the end because you also get Ian McDiarmid back as the fucking Emperor. Like,
yes. So yeah, those were the only real gripes about it that was a little annoying. But other than that, I think the strong points of this show was obviously Vader. It's number 1. Number 2 was Obi-Wan's metamorphosis. Number 3 was Leia and seeing her kid form and her being a little snarky here and a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You like see, because you saw that in older movies.
Because you can look at that young version of Leia and be like, yeah, this is definitely the same person that was on the Tantive 4 and told Vader to eat shit to his face. Like,
you know, she's like the second person I think that's like, or the first person who's fearless of the man. I mean, second one has got to be fucking Boba Fett. And I told Mom about that comic scan where both of them fought with the lightsaber, and I'm like, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna have the lightsaber on the fucking, belt over here. But outside of that, shows, I mean, dude, it's a nice predecessor. It goes above and beyond what it does, and it's a nice successor to what its predecessor was. So I mean, it's still worth a watch.
Yeah, I think the one show that's underrated that's coming up is gonna be Andor. Like, I don't think anybody's expecting Andor to be nice.
Yeah,
but it's gonna surprise us probably. Like, the trailer already surprised me by throwing clones in there, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
like, you give me them boys, and I'm just like, I now I have to watch it. But I think the Star Wars project I'm most excited for next is a toss-up between Mando Season 3 and Ahsoka.
I think I'm right there with you. I'm not going to say anything for the sake of Mom not seeing Book of Boba Fett yet. I know for sure, I mean, we're getting okay, she probably doesn't hear. You and I both know this. We're getting a very pissed off Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
We're getting the Dream Team again.
Mm-hmm.
Little spoiler alert for those that don't know. The Dream Team's back. We're getting, Mando in a new ship, courtesy of a little Phantom Menace kind of tip. And then we're possibly going to be seeing, and I'm keeping my fucking fingers crossed for this one, Thrawn.
I want to see Thrawn so bad. Ever since they recanonized him out of the old novels. Granted, I didn't read the old novels. I need to, but I haven't yet. But I have read some of the canon stuff with him in it, and I have watched the entirety of Rebels. And after you see the Rebels season finale, I don't know if you've seen it, but where where do you go? Where is he? There's two people that are missing out of that. That's Ezra. That's Thrawn.
Yep.
Where they at though?
Because I mean, ever since Ahsoka dropped it in Mando season 2, you were like, oh shit, he's in this somewhere. And you get excited.
I half expected him to show up in Mando season 2, and when he didn't, I was like,
yeah. Before we get into the questions, guys,
felt like they gave me my candy and then took it away.
Yeah.
Where is it? Give it to me.
Imagine little Kyle. You take the, little Kyle, 6 years old. You take the, Star Wars game from him. Give it to me. Give it to me. It's little Teddy Ursa getting upset. Give it to me.
It's like the Nintendo VR chat video. Why'd you take it? I don't want to be Mr. Nintendo anymore.
So the last thing on my list before we get into questions, because I'm gonna have you take on Eric's question and I'm gonna take on Gabe's question.
Okay.
Which, by the way, guys, if you want to give us questions for the show, you're more than welcome to. Our respective Instagram pages at World's Greatest Detective 626 and Trigger Happy Chatterbox 91.
Before we get into that, I do have a comic, not a recommendation, I guess a comic criticism for you, and I want to get your take on it.
All right, what's up?
So we talked last week or a couple weeks ago about them just kind of throwing Miles Morales at things,
okay,
and calling it good.
Yeah.
Right? So you have this whole what if series of
I'm not looking forward to this, by the way.
Of what...
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nobody was. So what if Miles was this? What if Miles was that? And I think one of the last issues was what if Miles was Captain America, right? So they made a new one about what if Miles was Thor. So this was written by Yehudi Mercado. The artists were Luigi Zagaria and Paco Medina. So I want to clarify. There's not one African American on the writing team or the artistic team. Not one. Okay? It features a graffitied Mjolnir. Miles Morales calling Asgard the Hood. And the phrase, by Odin's Fade.
If you continue, I'm gonna fucking beat you up. If you, okay, he fucking does it.
So now, okay, but the good part is that when they were called on it, the writer said, "Listen, I know that inauthenticity hurts. That wasn't my intention when I wrote it," and he is donating the pay that he's getting from that comic to the Brooklyn Book Bodega charity, which helps young people in Brooklyn gain access to books.
Okay, that's a good,
But still, who let you go in the... This is like MGK. Like, who let you go in the studio and let you have Miles say, by Odin's Fade, and then you were like, yeah, nah, this is good. So I want your take.
The fact that you continued.
I'm sorry.
The fact that you fucking continued makes my brain hurt. First of all, you're going to call Mjolnir the Hood.
No. Asgard.
The Hood.
It's called an Asgard the Hood.
And then he's Thor.
Mjolnir's got some graffiti on it.
And who? And you said there's not one on the staff.
Not one African American on the staff. Like, okay.
This is not gonna be a race thing. This is gonna be just a stupidity thing.
Yeah.
Okay. This is why you don't sniff glue at 6 when you're making fucking projects with those little fucking those snowman projects with the fucking cotton balls. I feel like the writing staff was just like, fuck the cotton balls. I'm gonna sniff this shit.
You gotta like layer the glue on and then put glitter on the shit.
And somewhere down the line when they sniffed it, the brain just went off and it got fucked up somewhere.
Common sense just exploded, just left.
Like the inner, the little inner lines of your brain, the glue was invading it.
Because here's my thing, right? Like if you had an actual black person on the writing team, I feel like they could have nipped this. I feel like they could have been like, either no, don't do it that way, or do it this way that makes more sense and comes off as more culturally appropriate.
Okay.
Like, I feel like having that representation on the writing team would have given this some more authenticity and would have made it more well received.
Okay.
Or that did not happen. Or we could just stop throwing Miles at stuff.
Yeah, or you could just make Miles a credible fucking character and just give him the Spider-Man treatment he needs. Stop putting him in every fucking little character. Next, he's gonna be Miles Pool, and then I'm going to jail.
Did they make an Ultimate like styled Miles comic yet?
No, they haven't.
That would be really cool to see.
If it's not Bendis related, sure. But if Bendis comes back with his fucking ugly bald exterior, with no fucking mustache, who just murdered Superman, and he's like, I think it's a good idea that I do Ultimate Spider-Man again, I'm going to jail. Why in the fuck did they do this?
I don't know, man.
Asgard as the Hood?
Asgard is the Hood. I don't know.
Did Marvel just switch roles with WWE all of a sudden?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Because the writing is toilet humor there. Did they just switch roles? Marvel, I don't know if at any point in time you listen to underrated hole in the wall, podcast. Do me a favor. Next time you ever think of doing something that involves just diversity with, the authenticity of like whatever character you want to do, take your fists, hold on, ball up your fist. And I want you to just put it towards your face, right? And I want you to just accelerate it right in front and keep hitting yourself for thinking of a fucking concept like that.
Or play it safe, do your research like everybody else does.
Kyle, I know sometimes we don't want to get violent here because I know you're like, John, let's try to aim it to don't do that. It's not one of those times. I love you, man.
Be like Gandhi.
No.
Just like bread, yo. We're going to practice nonviolence.
Like John's going to say it. Next time that Marvel ever has a decision like that, eat the wires of C4 and blow yourself up.
Oof. So there is one thing I'm really excited about that DC's actually putting out on HBO Max.
I need a minute. Hold on.
You don't want to switch gears?
Hold on.
I feel
you asked me my take. I'm gonna give you the take.
Oh, gee, I thought you were done.
No,
I'm sorry.
You said all of that and I was done.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were good to go.
No, I wasn't, because that to me, look, the buck stops with this.
Yeah,
you and me just came 3 months away from X-Men saying that Jesus Christ was the first mutant, and we didn't flip shit over that.
Now this,
and I've got to say it. I've got to just go in. Why the fuck did you think that was a great idea? Like, do I have to step up and be a writer for Marvel and just say, I don't think that's going to fly because I feel like that's degrading culture?
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me that Lewis Black is degrading Judaism, but you're going to tell me that Marvel isn't, get your fucking head checked. Because that's degrading culture. That is.
It really, like, it is. No, I agree with you. And it really makes me feel like what the writers did in that room when they were trying to workshop this comic is that they were just like, yeah, how many stereotypes can we put in this one thing?
Yeah.
Like how many really can we shove in there to make everybody be like, see, like he's black, get it? Like,
yeah, it just doesn't fly at all. That's like, you're taking it so many steps back, and it's degrading so many different things. It's almost like they called Carlos Mencia and we're like, hey dude, you do stereotypes, we like what you do, give us stereotypes for African Americans. Yeah. And just lay it on a comic for us. That's what you basically said.
Yeah, it's like the Gabriel Iglesias joke, the Chamber of Commerce with the the racist
gift basket. Yeah. But last thing I will say about it is, Marvel, you got to do better, because this is not, like, I get it, you like Miles, he's probably the one character that jumped out of this diversity angle with like Riri and like
popular enough to get a PS4 game around him.
Right, like, granted the second would be Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
The third is Riri, but no, man, this is not, if you're wanting to get people who are of the African American descent with you, start doing what they did in 2006 with Isaiah Bradley. That got me on board from that perspective. Right. That's representation done right. This is representation obviously done wrong in every kind of conceivable fashion.
Representation done right is like, you have a diverse character, whether they're trans, gay, bisexual, whatever their race is, whatever their religion is. Mm-hmm. You create that character, you put them into that universe, and nobody questions it. Mm-hmm. That's normal. Like, you can have those story beats that revolve around those things where they address those issues, and that's also important to have. But like, shit like this, where you're just throwing stereotypes at a wall, hoping to get points, that's not good, man. Like, mm-hmm. You wonder why everybody gets all up your ass about that, and it's because nobody likes it.
Yeah. Funny enough, like, I don't mean to cut you off. Funny enough, Stan Lee understood it, and I'm not here to go ahead and call out the race card because, Stan Lee isn't African American, but the man understood how to address it.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's all about your approach. It's all about your approach. It's all about respect for other people and their culture and their way of life. Even if you don't understand it, it's all about respecting it.
Yeah. And you said something that like hits a note with me in a positive way. Bringing people who understand, who are of that. Like, why do you think Luke Cage was so good for so long? Mm-hmm. And it still continues to hit the note. They brought people from the culture in which, I mean, you know me, dude, I'm all about that shit. They brought people in from different walks. Like, bro, I went nuts when they had Rakim on the damn show for season 2. My favorite rappers. They brought him in. KRS-One, same deal. When they brought people like that and they wrapped it around the world that is Luke Cage, and it was like peanut butter and jelly, man. It meshed in a way where you could appreciate it. You don't have to like it, but you could appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's the conversation we're having here. That's why I didn't even want to move from what we were going to talk about, because it's annoying when I see it done wrong, because it's not a hard fucking concept. It's not.
Because I feel like people who don't understand the culture or understand the lifestyle that they're writing about, if they don't really do their research, they're going to fuck it up.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna.
And I think the easiest way to not fuck it up is to, have people that are either, steeped in that ideology or that way of life or that culture on your team. So that way, if an idea is pitched and it's not going to go over well, they can nip it and be like, no. Like, don't do it. Don't do that. Yeah. Or at least don't do it that way. Do it this way.
Yeah.
That just seems like you know, especially in a company as big as Marvel, that just seems like common sense.
Right. I mean, then again, I have to keep in mind that, like, whenever stuff like this happens. Hey!